Yeah, I want to talk about keeping gardening simpler. We always overdo it. We can do so much better if we keep everything very logical and very organized. I love diversity in the garden. The more plants you add to your garden, the better your soil health is, the better your resistance, your plant's resistance is towards disease. And this diversity has this incredible ability to feed everything that lives in the soil with diverse energy. It's like going to the supermarket and they only have two things on the shelf. Well, that's the same thing for the fungi and the microorganisms as well. They like to have a diverse assortment of food offered to them by diverse plants. So the rhizomes of every different plant will provide different foods to different organisms that live in the soil. We don't even understand the incredible amount of organisms that live in the soil. We don't have a clue how to even analyze all this diversity that lives inside our soil. The only thing we can do as gardeners is provide our own diversity to these soils by having an immense array of plants in our garden and close to each other. That diversity will keep your garden alive, that diversity will keep everything fed, and that circular motion is unbeatable if you get that diversity built into your garden.
The circular soil energy equation: add compost for more food. The soil food web, using plant and soil energy to grow nutrient-rich organic produce. With very little input, you can keep your soil working. Healthy soils are loaded with microscopic life: fungi, protozoa, nematodes, microarthropods. A handful of healthy, rich soil can have up to 10 billion bacteria, consisting of 10,000 species. Scientists only know 5% of them. Soil and plant health is the lifeline of any garden. The interplay of plant and soils is a marvel of engineering. A circular, perpetual motion machine that only needs rich compost to run forever. The interconnectivity is controlled by the plant's messaging systems. Compost activates the soil food web, strengthens plant growth, makes water uptake easier, provides nutrients to the plants, breaks down organic matter, healthier plants, prevents diseases and attacks, provides resilience. What exactly is the soil food web? The ends of the plant roots, rhizosphere, release exudates into the soil. These are proteins and sugars, which are consumed by bacteria and fungi. The bacteria and fungi in return are consumed by nematodes and protozoa. The waste is energized food for your plants. Activate the circular motion of the soil food web, adding compost and moisture. Feed your soil to feed your plants. The end result is a nutrient-rich bounty. A forest is the best example of the soil food web. Just add falling leaves and moisture. Circular perfection above and underground.
Yeah, I want to talk about the soil food web, and I want to keep it very simple. There is a circular motion in almost everything in nature, and it works beautiful. It worked before humans interfered with it, and it still works today. But we don't take advantage of it, which is really odd. So if you talk about perpetual motion, it never works. And in this case, it's the same thing. You need to still add compost and moisture. If you add those two things in your garden, this soil food mechanism, the web, can work forever. It can keep on going. It can keep on producing incredible food for you to eat or produce to eat. This simplicity of life is not always easy to explain. It's basically a concept where a plant has the objective to stay alive It has the objective to flower, to seed, whatever it needs to keep its species alive. So what happens, the root system on the plants sends out energy. It's basically protein and sugar that is easily digestible by microorganisms and fungi that are in your soils. So what happens is now that these fungi and microorganisms, they consume this sugar easily. It's readily available to them. And then you have other organisms that live in the soils that will consume the microorganisms, and that waste product of this consumption, this double consumption, ends up producing plant food in an abundance. So to trigger this mechanism, this webbing mechanism or this circular motion, you have to add compost, and you have to make sure that your soil has the right moisture content during the whole process. So adding compost and water will keep this perpetual food web scenario going, and it'll allow you to grow endless amounts of food for the rest of time. You're basically not allowing your soil to get tired. You're not allowing your rhizomes to get tired in terms of not sending out these food elements for the microorganisms. And you need to keep that system working where there's always food available for the soil microorganisms to consume. And if you can keep that perpetual motion going by just adding compost and by looking after your garden, you can grow incredible food for the rest of time. And that is the interesting thing, is that we always exaggerate our gardening efforts where we don't need to. We just need to provide our plants with the absolute basics, and they will reward us tenfold by providing us with, incredible growth, incredible flowers, incredible things to eat. So it's that perpetual motion that we have to pay attention to. And we also have to pay attention to that our plants are constantly moving forward. And what I mean by moving forward is that they're constantly healthy. You look after them in many ways. And if you're doing that as a task, you will have the circular energy of soil and plants, how they work together, and the microorganisms and the other elements that are in the soil. If we keep all that working together, then you basically are going to have an incredible garden.